Okay, we're starting a bit early. Let's bring up the text. See, hopefully we can finish the Maamar today. Okay, so we're holding Sifhei. So we learned about the idea that the story of the Baal Shem Tov, the Frierdiker Rebbe tells over that the Baal Shem Tov asked the Parush how he's doing Parnasa-wise, and when he didn't answer, he said he's stealing the Parnasa from Hashem because Hashem, Ata Kodesh, Hashem who's separate, has Yoshev in the world, Tilas Yisrael through the praise when you say Baruch Hashem. And specifically the Baruch Hashem, not on Torah, on Limud Torah, but the Baruch Hashem on the Parnasa and the Gesund. Ish Haisif there adds the Pirush, the Haisif Lechem Tfos, then the fifth year is a bracha of Haisafa, of an addition. Shahaisafi Gam Betfua Deshana Revius. That is that Shahaisafi Gam Betfua Deshana Revius. That is an addition from the fifth year, even on the fourth year. Shagambam Shacha Shadei Torah. Nasis Hashleimus Aidei in the Tihilis Yisrael B'Yanim Gashim Dafka. That even the Hamshacha, meaning say the fourth year, which represents more the idea of Torah, Kodesh Hilulim Hashem, like Chaim brings down the Psukim, that's the Kodesh Hilulim in this case is referring to the Hilulim of Torah. That there's through the Hilulim, through the Shvach on Inyanim Gashmiyim, it brings a Haisafa even on the fourth year, which is the Hilulim for Torah. What's this mean? In Yom Rizal, rabbis have taught us, the Chazal teach us, the person says all I have is Torah, even Torah the person doesn't have. Why? It's not enough to have Torah, you have to have Torah and good deeds. Where does Torah become in its fullest? That through a Yid learning Torah adds light into Torah. But when could you have Torah in its true level? To connect Torah with Hashem through acts. To learn Torah as a theory, that's not the idea. The idea isn't how you act on the Torah. Through bringing the Torah into Gashmis, how the Torah affects our Gashmistic behavior, our physical, material behavior. By days through this, you're bringing chesed to Torah, you're bringing down the Torah into the physical, and you're doing a kindness to Torah by acting on Torah. Imagine Torah is just an idea that you don't act on. You add or into Torah through the acts of Gashmis. So through the Chamishis, they said the fifth year adds bracha to the fourth year, which is sort of say a hilulim, a praise for Torah. That's why the Torah was given in this world. It's not the spirituality of Torah. The way Torah is above the Ruchnis, which is more in a spiritual sense, is all in the spirituality. But the fact that the Torah is in this world is about the Gashmis of Torah. And that's why the angels had a claim on the Ruchnis of Torah. Because in the Ruchnis of Torah, they said, leave the Torah in heaven. But the Torah has to be Begashmis, in this world. Moshe says to the angels, were you in the physical Egypt? Did you experience Egypt? No. So that's the Iyar of Torah. The Iyar of Torah is how Torah is experienced in the physical realms of this world. Because only the way things are in this world, because the Iyar Kavana of everything, even before Torah, Yisrael Kadmul Torah, and Yisrael Al Machshava, means Yisrael is connected to the initial thought of creation, and that's even higher than Torah, the initial thought of creation before even Torah was manifest, and that's where the essence is. And where's that connected to? To the Seif Ma'aseh Machshava Tchila, the end act. What's the end act? That there's going to be a physical world. And the manifestation, Gilui means revelations. Revelations, yes, it's more revealed in the higher space and it's less revealed in the lower space. But that's all the level of high-low within revelations. But where's the essence? Where's God want to be found? What was the motivation for creation that motivated the essence that they should start the whole manifestation of even the name of Hashem, so to say? All started from Lamat in this world. Where was the taiva? The taiva was the motivated the pleasure that motivated, the delight that motivated Hashem for the whole process of creation, even before Torah, was that there should be a rest of the world, and in that place we should find Hashem. Idea that there's a dir b'tachtonim is not that there's a revealed, but that's another level of revelation. You want to find a manifestation of God, the glory of God, so to say, which is the revelation that you can find in the higher worlds. But you want to find the essence of God that you can find in this world. That's what they call elevated. They're elevated because it's a higher level of revelation. Where's the uniqueness? What's the tzipur midaberes, the tuki, the parrot that speaks is in this world. That a person could say something that's not a chiddush. The chiddush is something that's unique, that's unexpected. That's why a person gets, that's the example why he's talking about. A person gets so excited when a parrot says something. Give me a cracker. When a person came to the, imagine you brought a person to the king. And the person said, give me a cracker. Throw him into prison. You waste my time, you ask him for a cracker. But if a parrot says, give me a cracker, everyone's excited. It's the chiddush. And that's where the essence is. And therefore, when the Torah comes down here and it manifests in the Gemilas Chasadim, that's the chiddush. That's how we're really mechaber Torah with the Kadosh Baruch Hu. Why is the Rebbe asking this? Not just that the Torah is at its highest, completest level when it comes with good deeds, but that there's that the whole Indian of Torah is dependent on how it's on that there should be good deeds. What is the actual wording of the Maamar Chazal? And whoever says all I have is Torah doesn't even have Torah. Doesn't mean it doesn't have the completeness of Torah. Doesn't have any part of Torah. You're not just lacking the completion of Torah, which is the Chibra Kadosh Baruch Hu, that how that Kadosh Baruch Hu connects the Torah. Like I'm close to the Torah. You don't have to. That's not the Torah that we're talking about. But the idea is why. In Torah mitzad atzma liyoisach achmasei v'ritzoyna the Torah on its own, being Hashem's wisdom and will. I mean, what's the will? There's 630 mitzvahs. This is what I want. Do this. I don't want to do it. Any shaykhs in the prime. It's not dependent on people, on creation. But Hashem chose us and gave us His Torah. Therefore, one has to make a blessing before one starts Torah. The only when you make a bracha and you treat Torah properly, is then you start the Torah the way the giver of the Torah intended it for it to be. Means Torah is Torah on its own, being God's wisdom, is beyond people. But why did He give it to us? He gave it to us that it should be in such a way of Gemilas Chasadim. So there's no Gemilas Chasadim. So what's the it's not the Torah that Hashem intended. Hashem get kol ha'omer el Torah. As I feel Torah ain't like given to ein zekapika bonus nice that Torah. If a person only wants to do it, only wants to be connected to the Torah, but not act on the Torah, the good deeds of Torah is not the way the giver of the Torah. I mean, HaKadosh Baruch Hu meant the Torah to be given. Then you're not taking God's Torah. We get that of Rebbe because the Torah really is beyond us. Why was it given to us? It was given to us with an intention that we should bring good deeds of Torah. So if you're not going to do the good deeds of Torah, then you have no real connection to Torah because Torah is beyond you. Apiza Yuvan, from this one stand. Masha Baal Shem Tov hipsik as a parish. This is why the Baal Shem Tov stopped the parish from learning Torah. He needed the parish to understand this. The person that was totally isolated from worldly things. He didn't wait for the person to be on a stroll or finishing his learning. And the only reason the Baal Shem Tov disturbed him because he never stopped learning. He could have found the moment to catch him. Everyone has their moment. Why? Because he wanted him to say praise Baruch Hashem on his gesund and his parnasa. Even the Torah is the highest of all mitzvahs. He wouldn't acknowledge bringing God into His presence, into His physicality, into His material, into His parnasa and gesund and His health. It's not like he doesn't have shleim Torah. His whole Torah is lacking. Aside from not having the completion of Torah, but the Torah itself is lacking. Like we said, Torah is lacking. It's not Torah. Kivan shekavanas noisin haTorah he loyal limud be precious in zayesh the mind by finally because if God wanted that someone should sit in a side room locked up learning 24 hours Torah, the angels do that better. So what does Hashem want? Hashem wants that we should bring the Torah in this world of space. He had to recognize, not that we have anything against someone learning Torah all day, but in that Torah has to be recognition that there's a Mitzrayim, and you're in this Mitzrayim, and you have Gesund, and you have Parnasa, and when you acknowledge that, so then you're making the Torah a live Torah. Now we can understand the Paris the Bashanah Hachamishis. I will understand the Rishma we originally asked. Why? How could it be that the fruit of the 5th year is higher than the fruit of the 4th year? The 4th year you go to Yerushalayim, the holy fruit. The Shana Hachamishis within Torah itself, meaning the Torah. Meaning mitzad b'chinas segluim haralim the Torah shekol hadayis chiyuv midaraisa hunali yosim in brichas Torah. Meaning, seemingly, within Torah itself, there's the 4th year of Torah, which is, so to say, the limud Torah, and there's the 5th year of Torah. We're bringing this in Torah itself. That in Torah there's the level of the Torah the way it's the 4th year, which is in Yerushalayim, cut off, and there's the 5th Torah the way it's in the world. So yes, there's the brichas Torah, which is the connection of Torah with the world. The Torah, there's the limit of the Torah itself, which is the 4th year. So in one way, that's much higher. That's your Yerushalayim. That's studying of Torah. To learn Torah, everyone agrees you have to learn. It's biblical to learn Torah. It's for sure greater. Like the fruit in Yerushalayim, at the end of the day, you can't compare the fruit in Yerushalayim to the fruit in the 5th year. So the learning of Torah itself is greater than the bracha of Torah, which according to some opinions is only rabbinic. But even according to the Alter Rebbe who paskins, even blessing on the Torah, the bracha we make in the morning is also biblical. You still can't say it's as if it's in the high, it's as high, even biblically, as learning Torah. The Talmud Torah, we say the studying of Torah is against, it corresponds to even the whole Torah mitzvahs, all the mitzvahs. So that's where the 4th year is harder than the 5th year. But on the other side, the Talmud Torah, when you study Torah, you have your limitations. This is how much I understand. This is how much time I can invest in it. Even though in theory Torah is a midah rachava, it has no limit above and below, but you have limitations. Even though in theory, there's not a measurement how much you have to learn. You can learn, if a person's only could learn one little bit in the morning, a little bit at night, you're to the limit of Torah. But nevertheless, this is the verse and this is not the verse. When you complete the verse, then you completed it. It means even if the measurement in theory is, depending on your circumstances or your level of knowledge or your abilities, whatever the limitations are, you could learn one pasuk, but you have to learn one pasuk. So there's limitations. To bless the Torah, there's no shir. Means there's no. What does that mean? Just like there's no praise, you could keep on praising. The connection that you could do, the bringing the Gnulas Chasadim into Torah has no limits. You could praise Hashem with one word, Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hu, 100 praises. Are you in a mode of praise? Is the question. You can make a remez of praise. But at least, someone says, a sign of thank Hashem. That's a sign of praise. Like there's a difference between, like we said in the beginning, there's the 4 letters of Hashem's name. There's the 4 letters, the 4 years represent the four letters. That there's the Yud, which is the 4th year, but then there's the little tip going up, which is the kites of the Yud. It's just a dot. He says, why? The Yud itself. It's just a dot. It has to be that dot. It means it's not a full form, but the dot itself, it has its limits. It has a little upwards, a little downwards. But the little upward itself Ein boy medidus v'shiurim klal has no limitations. It may be just a little sharp edge, but the sharp edge itself is not doesn't have to be a defined sharp edge. Benimtza. Shachiluk means the form of the yud itself has to have an upwards and downwards and a little space. But the actual little sharp edge itself, it's just a sharp edge. It can be whatever size it is. What the Rebbe is trying to say basically over here in a nutshell is that yes, the fourth year is very important. That represents the limit of the Torah, mitzvah limit of the Torah. But when it comes to the praising of the Torah, the fifth year has something. The Kedushah Yud has something that the fourth year doesn't have, which is the ability to the limitless in your connection to the Noisin of Torah, to the giver of Torah. And although that itself could be, one person could be studying it a second, one person studying a lot, but it's the connect. It's when you learn Torah how you connect to the Noisin of Torah, the Hilul, the praising, and specifically bringing it down to this world has its milas even over the limit of Torah. That's the point that I want to say. It comes out. The difference between the studying of Torah and the blessing Hashem who gave us the Torah, which is like the hilulim, the praise of Hashem, the bringing the Gemilas Chasadim into Torah. The fourth year is holy. We know we have to eat in Yerushalayim. We have akbals. We have limitations. You can only eat in Yerushalayim, like Ma'aser Sheni. But it has limitations. It's holy, but it has its limitations. It has to be in Jerusalem. There's no holiness on the fifth year. And it has no limitations. You could give any experience you have on the fifth year out in the world and you make it into a godly moment. It's limitless. You don't have to be in Yerushalayim. You can make a godly moment crossing the street or helping someone with the groceries or giving someone a hug or giving someone a smile. You could even eat it impure, but you're connecting to Hashem. It's the connection of the real world. Like it says in this week's parsha, God is with you in everything, even in your most impure moments. It finishes off. We just celebrated the idea of the fifth year. But you have to remember the fifth year comes after the fourth. The holy moment, the moment of praise of Torah itself. You don't have that up moment, like we said in our Torah today, that fourth year moment. You just go right away from 3 years into the fifth year without the fourth year. Right? I waited 3 years and now I'm going to eat the fifth year. I'm going to go and just eat and make a salad. You're not going to have that going to Yerushalayim. This idea that the person says Baruch Hashem has to come after the Torah, because it could be you're going to have the blessings, you're not going to acknowledge it, you're not going to thank Hashem for it. It's brought down the idea that one shouldn't eat before we daven. This is all just in the order that we have to, from the third year to the fourth year to the fifth year. Where's the intention? The intention is the fifth year. But in order to really understand the fifth year, you have to go to the fourth year. In order to really understand the simplicity of Baruch Hashem, means that's why the Baal Shem Tov put so much effort that the Parush to say Baruch Hashem. To get a simple Jew to say Baruch Hashem, okay, Baruch Hashem, to get someone who's totally disconnected, and to pull themselves away and to connect to their Gashmias, to their Parnas and their Brias, that's a Chiddush. The Kabbana is on the opposite. We bless Hashem first and then we learn. If you don't acknowledge the nice in the Torah, you can't learn Torah. You want to properly be able to spend your time in Yerushalayim better. You have to know that afterwards, you have to be at least committed to the idea of after Yerushalayim. You should even be able to go, like the Rebbe is pushing now, this idea of shlichus, right? If you want that your years in yeshiva should be proper, you have to know that afterwards you're going to take that with you, and even if you have to go to chutz la'aretz, a spiritual chutz la'aretz. Shegusha Tame Vavir Tame, the whole earth is Chutzlaretz is an impure place. Because that's what Hashem really wants. To make him rest in peace in this world. We got to go look faster. It's Shabbos Kodesh. I want to wish everyone a good Shabbos. The rest of Hashem next week. We'll find another Maamar that's appropriate for maybe for Lag BaOmer or for Pesach Sheni. Shabbos.